That is a professor.
What's the professor of?
Economics.
Okay.
And during the writing project lasted 2 years. But during the first year, neither Mark nor I felt confident of the material we came up with.
I definitely empathize with that.
Because who are we to know that we have something incredible for humanity?
Yeah.
Until he showed up and he told us of his problem in life, connection issues.
Yeah.
So we dumped, because he's a professor.
Yeah.
So he can digest information. We dumped the whole version of the book on him. His life would change left and right. And that was when we realized the power of what we came up with. Because if it could change the life of a professor,
yeah,
he rests our case. And that's how the second year of the project took off. At Brown University, he embraced and approved Thomas' philosophy almost a year before the book was published. Thomas, that means master of relationships.
What's Scadio doing?
12 months after Thomas was published, Scadio was released as a product. The first self-flying camera with 4 technology. Check this out, Scadio is backing away from the branches. Scadio, that means master of the sky.
Dio. Sí, yo sé, Dio. Yes. Scadio is even able to capture every brick in the ground. Because to have this much shadow captured while traveling 20 miles an hour, está bien increíble.
Long before this dog was born, before its owner went to school, almost 20 years ago, and almost 2,000 miles away from here, I came up with the first Thomas mantra. It is likely to be the shortest and yet arguably the most powerful mantra of all. If you knew how to discharge its power appropriately, you could wipe out half of your relationship problems in the next 20 years. It has only 5 words. The shortest and yet arguably the most powerful mantra of all. If you knew how to discharge its power appropriately, you could wipe out half of your relationship problems in the next 20 years. Pause. It has only... What many viewers don't realize the meaning of that is this. Not only romantic relationships, as most people understood, but romantic relationships are only 10% of consequential relationships in your life. That statement applies to the bigger collection of relationships. But most people miss that.
They're so focused on romance. People wake up ready to fall in love.
The 5 words. Respect. That means no interfering. This mantra led to our work on the Dumas philosophy. This is URI campus, where Mark Kenny, my co-author, went to school while he was working on the book with me. That's the origin of the
So
book.
the 5 words, respect means no interfering.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is the one and only lesson that I came up with for my first grader throughout the year. Every week I asked him about it. And that I came up with that for my son without thinking about other people until 14 years later.
I'd say I agree with that. I mean, I've always felt as though when it comes to how one should socially conduct themselves, there seem to be like a lot of rules laid out for people, and I think that those rules should actually, unlike there, be minimal, and just have like a general principle of like here's how we interact with each other without getting in each other's way, and I think that's a great rule for that. Just that one thing, respect. That means no interfering.
I want to tell you 2 things.
Yes.
And then it's 7:30.
Yeah.
We can talk about when to meet next, but I believe that you may want to meet as frequently as you can, because I think that you begin to see what this journey is doing to you.
Yeah. Definitely.
What is it doing to you?
It's well, I've always been for like broadening the way I view everything and like opening my mind. And well, I've certainly come a long way from where I was before. Uh I'd like to go farther, and I think this is definitely the path I want to go down to do that.
How is this different from other paths
Um
that you experimented with recently?
Recently. Huh. Well,
Because every path takes time.
yeah.
Why do you choose this path?
Well, recently I haven't experimented with many paths other than simply I settled on the way I would in simplest terms live my life would be to whatever path I find myself being called down, I would go down. That something, if I want to do something, I would do it, and the only reason I needed to do that was because I wanted to, because I want to be a writer, and there's no like objective reason I should be a writer, but that's what I want, and that's what matters to me. So that's the path I've been going down recently, and I feel like that's definitely opened up. Like in the past year, that's what I've been trying to apply to all places.
Yes.
So like I feel like that broadened it a lot, and this is definitely the next step for that.
And why do you think this is the next step?
Well, the emphasis on subjectivity. It's just it's based on a simple rule: respect. The definition of respect that you lay out.
Okay. What you did
Lecture.
is exactly the same as what my son did in first grade.
What did he do?
He thought that that's a rule.
And it's a lesson.
It's a definition.
Yeah,
It's not a rule. But he thought that it was a rule, so he obeyed it. That's fine,
Yeah, I understand. I mean, if you choose to obey something, you obey it.
but it's not a rule.
Yeah.
It's a language. And you thought that it's a rule. And it's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm sure most people would think such a thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now you begin to see the power of language.
Hmm.
I don't tell you when to respect.
Yeah.
When not to respect.
Mhm.
I only tell you as a language, I only tell you what it truly means. But you don't really know how to respect me
You.
or this person or this person. It's impossible for you to respect anyone just because you know the definition of respect.
Yeah.
Because if you don't understand what my ideals are, if you don't understand what is important to me, how do you know what to avoid interfering with? And that is what most people missed, if not
Yeah.
all people missed.
Well, then it's a good thing you're pointing it out now.
That's why we suck at relationship, not because we don't understand concepts, but because we misunderstood concepts. If you want to love me or anyone, if you want to love me, you have to respect me. If you want to respect me, you have to know how to avoid interfering with my life. If you want to know how to avoid interfering with my life, you must know of my ideals. But if I never let you know of my ideals, you cannot avoid interfering, you cannot respect, and therefore you cannot love. So if nobody loves me, it's probably because I did not express my ideals so well. And that is what most people missed.
Yeah. I definitely see what you're saying.
What do you think of too much slang now?
I think it's probably one of the most intelligent things I've heard. You seem really wise. I know like maybe you don't feel like I know you might feel like, well, I'm just me, but yeah, I definitely consider you wise.
Thank you. And 2 years later, in 3rd grade, when I told my son to shut down the TV, eat dinner, hit the sack because it's school night, he didn't say anything, and he beamed at me and went, "Puppy, you're interfering with my program."